You know, in all my years, I've never set foot outside the Institute. Not once. Since the day they brought me here. I've never had a reason. But now, this the only hope for humanity.
It wasn't always like this. It used to be different.
I can only imagine. Standing here, I'm reminded of how fortunate I am that I was spared a life in this wasteland. I know that to you, I was kidnapped from that vault. In truth, the Institute rescued me. Both of us, really.
They left me on ice. For 60 years.
They did. And for good reason. I was the perfect candidate. An infant with uncorrupted DNA. But if something were to go wrong, if I died, well, the Institute realized a contingency plan was prudent. Another source of pre-war DNA, preferably related to their primary subject. It only made sense that my parents should fill that role. So you were kept alive and safe within the vault. I'll admit, when I had you released from Vault 111, I had no expectations that you'd survive out here in all this. To not only do so, but manage to find me. To infiltrate the Institute itself. Extraordinary.
You could have let me out decades ago.
Until I became director, I had no idea you would. Certainly it was no longer necessary. An experiment. Would the Commonwealth corrupt you? As it has everything else.
Sure.
Perhaps most curious to me, would you, after all this time, attempt to find me? And now I know the answer.
That's all this is?
No, that's not all. But soon, I hope you'll understand. Everything I've done has been for the future. A future which I hope is not in jeopardy after recent events. Bunker Hill did not go well for us. Would you care to explain what happened?
We were totally ambushed. They were waiting for us.
You can imagine that I find that very hard to believe, given that all the intelligence leading up to this indicated we'd taken them by surprise. Bunker Hill was to cement your place as a valuable asset to the Institute. It will now only raise suspicions. And to see the Brotherhood of Steel involved in this? They had no way of knowing what was going on. I will refrain from sharing the outcome with the Directorate for the moment. Things are already in motion that this would only derail. Speaking of which, it's time for you to become more involved in the future of the Institute. I'd like you to join me inside. The Directorate is meeting, and you should be there. I'll be waiting. I've seen it. It's time to go back in.
Remember to practice good
Son?
sanitation habits.
Let's get
at
this
all
Directorate
times.
meeting over with before we speak further. It's important.
Call this a clean floor? Are your visual receptors malfunctioning? Can you not see the grime and dust?
My apologies, sir. I was issued a defective cleansing unit.
Don't make excuses. You're clearly defective, and I intend to report this. Perhaps after you've been disassembled, we can use your components to make something that's
Good, we're all
actually
here.
useful.
Yes, sir.
I think it's time we begin.
Sir, excuse me, but What exactly is she doing here?
I will address that issue. But there are other subjects that require our attention first. The level of unrest in the Commonwealth continues to rise, as we're all aware. Your report.
All Institute facilities remain completely secure with the exception of one notable breach. Otherwise, internally, things are as tight as they've ever been. Dr. Ao has been keeping an eye on things topside.
Yes, Watchers show no additional threats beyond those previously identified. We're still monitoring the increased activity around Fort Independence, but there are no immediate signs we should be concerned. Boston International Airport remains occupied, with Brotherhood presence noted at several other points throughout the Commonwealth. Intelligence suggests that this railroad continues to operate and is becoming more ambitious. SRB agents are monitoring all known situations, sir.
Very good, thank you. It's clear that our safety needs to be the primary concern going forward. To that end, where are we on Phase 3?
Sir, are you sure this is the time to be discussing it? Given, well, considering all parties present?
Ah, yes, that's true. Have you heard anything about Phase 3?
I have no idea what that is.
I'll admit I'm relieved. It's intended to be something of a classified project, which I'm sure means everyone already knows about it. Power is, as I'm sure you've seen above ground, a very valuable commodity. I'm not talking about some abstract concept of control. I mean real, tangible power. The kind that keeps the lights on. With every advance the Institute makes, our need for raw power increases. Many compromises and sacrifices have been made over the years to allow progress to continue.
In this world, I'm sure compromise is necessary.
Quite right. For far too long, we've been dependent on others. On our surroundings. That time is over. Phase 3 is simply the activation of a nuclear reactor that can provide enough power to the Institute now and forever. It will ensure not just our survival, but our prosperity.
Whoa. Nuclear power? That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Not in our hands. I assure you this is the answer. This is the future. The reactor is close to ready, but recent tests have determined we have a few tasks ahead of us. Thus, we come to Phase 3, and to how you will help.
Sir.
Yes, Dr. Ao. Previously, we would rely on Kellogg for above-ground operations, yet? Well, he is gone. While I am not overly fond of putting my own mother in harm's way, she has proven more than capable of handling herself.
Yes, but...
This is not a matter for debate. Now, there is one more subject that requires discussion.
I don't know that this is the time.
Dr. Holdren, it is time. Please. As I'm sure several of you are already aware, I have been under Dr. Volkert's care for some time. I'm sorry, this is difficult for me. Our best efforts have failed. Every experimental treatment we could devise has been unsuccessful. I'm sorry to say I am dying.
What?
Can't be
Please,
serious.
everyone, please. I am sorry. This is not how I wanted to tell you, but we're running out of time.
You're dying?
I'm afraid so. A very aggressive form of cancer. Believe me when I say we've done everything we can. We can talk more later. Right now, the future of the Institute is at stake. The Institute cannot survive without leadership. The Directorate must continue to govern with the best interest of all in mind. To that end, I am naming my mother as my successor.
Oh, boy.
You can't be serious!
Really?
Seems a poor choice.
How can you possibly justify this? She isn't one of us. She isn't even a scientist.
Ignoring your borderline, insubordinate tone, I will simply say this. The Institute has enough scientists. What it needs is a leader. I believe my mother has already proven herself more than capable in that regard. This will conclude this meeting. Thank you.
Unit B592 is undergoing the reclamation process as we speak. Before long, he'll be back in the workforce.
I had no idea.
I know this is... well, it's a lot to take in at once.
I'm sorry, Mother. I hope it wasn't too presumptuous of me to put you in charge without even asking first.
I can do the job.
Of course you can. That's why I made the decision. There's no question that some of the Directorate and the Institute at large will need reassurances about your appointment. That's why I'd like you to take charge of this latest operation. Dr. Fillmore can fill you in on the details. There are hard decisions ahead, for all of us. But for you especially.
Right?
Busy day for you, isn't it? Well, it's about to get busier. You're going to lead this operation, I'm told.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go over the details. Recent events have upset our timetable. Getting the reactor online has become our #1 priority. It needs to be running, well, yesterday. We're going to have to cut some corners. I'm not thrilled, but it means we'll need to rely on some pre-war tech. You're going to the Mass Fusion building to acquire a beryllium agitator for us.
That sounds dangerous.
Any place above ground has its risks, but that's why you're in charge.
Sounds good. I'd appreciate the company.
Not as much as I'd appreciate coming back in one piece. But here we are, with our not to put more pressure on you, but we have to move quick. We don't want them getting the agitator before... Head on up to the relay, and I'll...
Sometimes Quentin is really mean to me, but my mom says I have to be nice.
Here. Guess we'll have to go
Heck, what was that?
Target located.
least not without whatever card activates it. No sign of the agitator. We'll have to search the rest of the building.
There we go.
factory!
Contact lost.
Cover me!
There's the reactor. Not a bad piece. Look for its time.
Scanners detecting sentient life. Alert level elevated.